Hi guys, Madeleine Harvey here. Thank you so much for joining me at madeleineharvey.com. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how can I sing if I'm sick. So we're going to be going over discerning types of symptoms that you might be experiencing and some ways that you can stay connected to your voice, especially while your body takes the necessary time that's needed for it to heal. So if you like today's video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up or click the subscribe button below. I would love to see you here more often. And if you have a question that you would like for me to answer, please feel free to leave it in the comments portion of today's video because I would love to hear from you. So I get this question often from many of my own students, and I'm trying to hide it, but I am recovering from a cold now myself. So I thought that that would be a really great time to answer this question for you guys. So how can I sing when I'm sick? My first instinct as a voice teacher and as a singer when asked that question is to simply say, don't. If you try to overcompensate for your sickness and push your voice, you can create a lot more problems than what you had before. But I do understand that some of you guys are professional singers and you simply cannot cancel your performances, or you can't slow down and take that time off that your body needs for it to heal. So I wanted to spend that time today talking about how you can stay engaged with your voice in very small, very gentle ways to help it through its healing process and keep you connected to your voice at the same time. So we're going to get into two really common areas of sickness that can affect your voice in really big ways. So the ability to discern between these two in terms of your experience will tell you if singing is at all possible for you if you're experiencing that type of sickness, and how to proceed if you can. So the first one is soreness in the throat. So if you feel that it just hurts in your throat, or if your voice feels really raspy or really gravelly, that's a really big indicator that there's some swelling present. And what that means is basically that the vocal folds and the surrounding muscles or the surrounding area of your throat is inflamed. So it can't connect or create the types of shapes that it normally creates when you sing. So this basically means that it's totally compromised. And the best thing that you can do is to rest. Even if you don't feel that it's swollen a lot, if it hurts, the very best thing that you can do is rest. Take it easy, or you can talk, but in a very gentle, very small kind of way. I'm going to give you a sound that will really allow you to engage your voice in a very gentle way by connecting the inner edges of the chords. And this sound is believed by many to relieve some of that chord swelling, and that is the vocal fry. So if we just go, it's a very, very small unit of sound that keeps the chords connected while relieving some pressure on your voice. So I would really suggest you play with that sound. And I'm going to go ahead and say it again. It's really, really important to keep it small, keep it gentle. If you're noticing that your voice is coming and going, or if it hurts, if you push the voice even more, you're only going to get more swelling. And the vocal folds can actually swell in an open position, which results in a complete loss of the voice. So be small, be gentle, play with that vocal fry. Another really great remedy that you can do is gargle with some salt water. I find that that's really, really helpful. So that's one thing. The other is mucus. Yucky. Mucus is slimy. It's thick. And when the presence of, or the mucus is present, it can create a lot of blockages, right? Like up in our head, we can get mucus that just sits on the vocal folds. We can get mucus in our bronchi, which is what I'm experiencing and getting over myself. So we basically, whenever you notice that mucus is present, what you want to do, and I want you to listen very closely, is drink lots of water. I can't stress that enough, especially if you notice that your mucus is really thick and really slimy. Your body is isolating the cause of your illness and trying to get it out. So basically, you want the mucus to go from thick and gross and slimy to thin and clear and watery. So that's healthy. That's healthy. So the best way to do that is to pump lots and lots and lots and lots of water into your body. Drink lots of water. So avoid foods or drinks like caffeine or alcohol because they dehydrate you. They actually pull the water from you. And avoid medications that do that as well. There are some medications that you can take that will break up your mucus, but I really suggest just going the water route myself, like going the water route. Another really, really great thing that you can do that will reduce inflammation, which is another thing that mucus can create. Inflammation such as congestion up in your head space, and that's a really big issue for singers. It can create some soreness in the throat, and as well as in the chest, is to crush up some aspirin and put it in some tea. And I even like to add little sprigs of thyme, because thyme is really, really good for your respiratory tract. And FYI, I'm not a doctor, and this is not a substitute for doctor advice. I'm just simply sharing what I found works really good for me. So I like to crush up that aspirin, drink lots and lots of tea, lots of water, maybe put a little thyme in there. Another thing that I noticed that helps reduce inflammation and breaks up mucus a lot is simply steaming with eucalyptus oil. Putting a towel over my head and just breathing in and 1 to 2 minute intervals with a nice steam. Now, obviously you don't want the water to get super, super hot. You'll burn yourself. But a nice steam, 1 to 2 minute intervals. You can also use a neti pot or a saline spray to break up that mucus and the inflammation. I'll show you. I like simply saline. I also use a neti pot, but for purposes that are kind of gross, I won't show you in the video. But just Google neti pot. You can get them anywhere in drugstores. And they're really great solutions for breaking up a lot of that mucus and that inflammation. But going back to inflammation for a second, what singers will do a lot of times is, again, they'll just try to overcompensate for some of that congestion or that inflammation. And this is a really, 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 really big no-no. And so just kind of be mindful. Ask yourself, like, where do I feel that I'm getting this dis-ease in my body? Is it up in my head? Is it blocked? Do I feel pressure up in my head? Is it in my throat? Is it in my chest? And there's, you're going to discern what you're going to do from that point. But just going back to inflammation for just a second. A lot of singers, what they will do, and the whole point is they try to overpower their sickness. And you simply can't do that. When you're sick, you have to slow down. You have to connect to your body in smaller, gentler way. If you're blocked up in your nose, in your sinus cavity, you're going to lose a lot of resonance and a lot of volume as well. Your head space is a really intricate resonating system. It's where we get that's where tone is produced. We get a lot of our tone, we get a lot of our volume up in our head space. So when we don't have that resonating space available, a lot of singers will overcompensate and push, which creates a lot of stress on the throat. So again, the very best thing that you can do is just be mindful of the type of dis-ease that you feel in your body. If you're noticing that you don't have that type of resonance, well then focus on something else that you can do. So this is where I'm going to give you your sounds. There are 4 really, really great sounds that will allow you to engage with your body and with your voice, especially when you're sick and you can't use your full voice, but you still want to keep it engaged and keep it in check. And the very first one is that vocal fry that we were talking about, that creaky door sound. It's a wonderful way to relieve any swelling on the vocal folds and keep the connection to the voice small and gentle. It's a very small unit of sound. Another sound that you can progress from that is called a glottal stop. And it's a tiny, tiny, tiny unit of sound. And it's just basically going to get a deeper chord connection. And it's also going to lower the larynx if you're noticing that you have a lot of swelling in the throat and it's really tight in there. So it's going to be kind of like a hooty glottal stop. Like, just very gentle, very small. That is the thinking that we're thinking when we're sick. Be very gentle and very small. So we want to go, So think like Yogi Bear, like hey boo boo. Like that's what I kind of play with as a hooty sound, like Get the larynx lowered. It's very gentle. Get the chords connected, and do this in a very small, gentle fashion. Okay, so that's 1 and 2. Another one is a gentle lip trill, and I think this is a great exercise, which is that just blowing that B sound through the lips, like. It's very amazing, the lip trill. It balances pressure inside of the body, so you're not going to get a lot of that push from the throat, but it's also going to reinforce that feedback of breathing from diaphragm into the face. So even if you have a little bit of mucus that you're trying to work around, it's a wonderful way to get the breath into the face without shoving a lot of pressure, air pressure into the face. And our last sound is just a gentle hiss sound. So if you've discerned that you have some swelling in the vocal cords and you rather not sing right now, but you really want to work on something, a great thing to work on is breath support. And we don't necessarily need to use the voice to work on that. So that's a gentle hissing sound, like a s. And this will keep you connected to your diaphragm, keep your throat nice and open, and keep you working with your breathing cycles and your breath support, especially if you cannot use your voice. So let's go ahead and cover those 4 sounds again. Number 1, we have the vocal fry. Relieves swelling on the vocal cords and keeps those inner edges working, and it works with the tiniest little measurement of sound. The second one is a glottal stop that's slanted towards a hooty sound. This is what to do if you notice that your larynx is rising and it's just very trapped and swollen inside the throat, and it's just a wonderful way that you can engage your chords. You can also close your mouth and do kind of like a little beatbox, like. It's a wonderful way to, again, get the chords connected in a smaller, gentler fashion without using full voice. The third one was that lip trill, and this enforces dexterity of diaphragm and keeps the pressure off of the throat and allows that feedback from diaphragm or breath to face to happen. And I like to just kind of play with some sirens of sound this way, like. It's a wonderful way to balance pressures inside. And the last one is a wonderful way to keep you connected to your breath support, which is just a gentle hissing sound. You don't even need your voice at all to do that last one. Okay, thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope that you found today's video useful. Please feel free to leave any questions in the comments portion of today's video. Click the subscribe button below or give today's video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time. And see you and be friends with you, and let's hang out. In today's video, we're going to talk about 3 really easy tips to fixing a nervous